Hello and welcome to today's stock market analysis. The Dow ends up today 267 points and the S&P ends up 23. Okay, what I have here is a chart of the S&P 500 futures. This is an intraday chart on Renko, and this is overnight from last night here. And these two red bars here is where we opened today, right around here. And you can see right away from the close overnight, we pretty much trailed higher with a bigger boost coming, at least our time, around 6 o'clock. I'm in Central Standard Zone. And what I have in the middle here, this yellow line is the VWAP. This blue line right here is the first deviation, and this is the second deviation right there. You can see how we just were hugging that top VWAP line the whole time, and then we even tried to bust above it and possibly flirt with that second one. But you can see we got so far from the volume weighted average price that, and this second line started to shoot upward from here. It eventually flatlined, kind of out of range here. But if it shot all the way up there, and the market was just telling us, okay, we've gotten overbought for the day, so we need to have a little correction. And that's pretty much what happened. You see, we came down to this R2 level. These are pivot points down there. This is R1, R2. And then we bounced off a little bit from there, but nothing really noteworthy. And then we just busted through the VWAP as if it wasn't there, came down. And then what you can see here is this level you would figure we go down to this lower VWAP at least, but what happened here, this is the close of Tuesday, which was a high at the time, until today, of course. So you can pretty much think of it as being our old resistance now being new support. So you can't really count it so much here, but it did happen here too. That's overnight. Okay, so we bounced off from here, and what I have down here is a detrended signal with some moving averages on it. And what happened is we were actually more oversold according to this indicator than we were overbought back here. I think it's because it happened so fast, and the way the indicator works is it was saying, okay, we're actually already oversold, so it's time to get in again. And so then we go up, we flirt again with R2 for a second, and then we end the day at the highs. So you can also see that these moving averages were pointing upward the whole day, and they never really crossed over here, so they're pretty much just still pointing upward. So that's the intraday S&P 500 chart here. So let's show the daily now. So this is a daily chart, and I want to show this trend channel here. I think a lot of people have noticed this. We've just been bouncing around in this channel. It's sort of a subjective channel. It's kind of just however you draw it, but it kind of didn't really stick to the downside as much as it has on the top. So you can think when we get to this top here, if we close firmly above it like we did today, you can from then on think this market's going skyward. But I want to point out back here, this is an old support level when we were coming down, and about at 1260 here, and you can think of that as being resistance on the way up, because usually old support becomes new resistance. But it's actually stronger than you may think because we hit it twice back here. So you can think of it as even more resistance. Now, it may not happen, but it could. And we also have this 200-day moving average. We're above the 50 and the 100, but this purple line here is the 200-day moving average, and we're pretty much right at it. So that's another good indicator for higher movement. So that's S&P right there. And now I have a chart here of oil intraday. Same kind of Renko chart with a VWAP and moving averages and things. And it was a similar activity, but not really. It went up throughout the night, and then this is the open right here. So actually the open for oil is at 8 o'clock. This is the open over here. And this is the stock market open, but this is the oil open. And it kind of hit this resistance line right away and hung out on it, and then tried to break above it. And we were already above the second deviation VWAP. We were flirting with the first deviation VWAP. We were about to hit the second one. And then same thing kind of happens, only it happened earlier here. And then it kind of trails down, hits this R2 and bounces around it all day, right at the VWAP also. So it's hitting that for for about an hour, an hour or two. Then we break down from there, and it bounces up and down. Oil is a very volatile instrument, but as far as today goes, there was no solid, okay, we're going this way, we're going that way. Pretty much if you bought at any point or sold at any point, you made money, which is just what traders like. But it was an interesting day in oil today. But the same overnight activity was interesting, I thought. So now I want to show you a chart of the euro to wrap things up here. And I want to show you just the pivot points on this one. We can have a look at the VWAP here and how we are on the second deviation up there, and that's pretty strong upward momentum. But the pivot points here. This is R1 here and R2. This is overnight back here. At overnight, we don't really flirt with it. We just kind of break through it and break through it again on the way back up. But when we come up to here, we bust through R1 without even thinking about it. So then you can think as a trader, okay, we're obviously ignoring the pivot points today, but then we get up to R2 and we just smack right back down. And then we say, okay, let's try again. We smack right back down again. And then the oddest thing happens. We hit R1, and this time we don't just bust through it to the downside. It becomes our support. So our R2 or R1 becomes our support now, and then we bounce back up, and then we smack into R2, and we close the day right at R2. So as a trader, if you would have seen something like that happening, you could have taken legs in your position out, and then with your final leg coming up at R1, if you would have gotten long maybe over here, maybe you take your first leg out here, take a middle leg out at the midpoint, and your last if we make it up to the top, and maybe trail down from there. If you never hit this level up here, maybe trail down from there. That's just an idea of trading opportunity there. But that's the market as I saw it today. And we do have a longer video on our website. It's about an hour and a half of more in-depth analysis at toptiercapital.com. And I hope everybody has happy trading and good luck. Thanks.